Hi folks, HR Funk here with I think the fourth installment in my Most Accurate series. And this time around we're going to be taking a look at my most accurate backup handgun. Now over the years I've had a lot of different backup handguns, and the ones that I'm going to be introducing you to today are the ones that are still in my collection. But just understand these are not the only ones that I've ever had, these are just the ones that I still have. Now, each one of these handguns that I'm going to be introducing you to is one that at some point during the time that I've owned it, I have carried to back up another full-size duty handgun. And just as with other firearms that I've talked about in this series, each one of these handguns has its own full review video, so I'm only going to be giving you just a little bit of information about each one of them today, but if you want to see the full review, look back through my channel or search through my channel and you'll find that full review video to get all the details about these different firearms. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at the contenders for my most accurate backup handgun. And I'll be introducing today's contestants to you once again in the order in which I acquired them. And first up is the one that I acquired back in the early 1990s to back up my full-size 9mm semi-auto that our department was issuing at that time. This is my Model 940 Smith & Wesson J-Frame Centennial Revolver, chambered for the 9mm cartridge. This revolver does require the use of full moon clips, and I carried this for a number of years. Most of the time it was in an ankle holster, and this has been a very, very good little revolver during that entire time. Some years later, around 1999 I believe, I decided I wanted a backup handgun that was a semi-automatic, and at that time I purchased my Smith & Wesson CS9. This is another tremendous little handgun. This thing has always seemed more accurate to me than it should. And years ago, when my eyes were a little bit younger, I used to enjoy using this handgun to knock down bowling pins at 50 yards. And as long as I did my part, the pistol would do its part. So I'm going to be interested to see how it fares today in the accuracy contest against the other handguns that I have here. In 2007, my police department switched to the Smith & Wesson M&P. And for my backup handgun in winter months, I used an M&P 40 compact that you see here. This is a 1.0 pistol, and I used to carry this in a shoulder holster under my heavy winter coat as a backup to that full-size M&P handgun. Now, I don't remember ever shooting this from the bench, so I don't know what to expect, but it has always been a very good handgun. Excuse me. And it has a particularly good trigger. So it should give a good accounting of itself, and we'll see when I get out to the range. Now, around the same time that I got the M&P 40 Compact, I wanted to have something during warmer months that I could carry for backup, and I didn't want to continue using an ankle holster like I had used with the Model 940. So I went to the lightest Centennial J-frame that was then available. This is my Model 342 Ti. Now I wish this had been available in 9mm because I really like the 9mm cartridge in the 940 in a revolver of this size, but it was not available. It was only available as a 38 Special. So I have carried this revolver for years and years and years and years. And I've mentioned before in past videos, this really is my most carried non-duty firearm because it is so easy to carry this lightweight Centennial revolver when I'm going out doing whatever I'm doing throughout the course of the day. A few years ago, I acquired the Springfield Armory Hellcat, and I really like this because it's a little bit smaller than the CS9. It's a little bit smaller than the Smith & Wesson Shield that I was carrying prior to this, and this has been a great little handgun. And I have always said this thing seems to shoot like a much bigger firearm. When I'm shooting it, it shoots like a full-size handgun, but obviously it is the diminutive Hellcat size. One of the things that I think really helps this pistol is the sight. And I have shown these before, but I will bring it up here one more time for everyone to see. That big dot really just seems to draw your eye into it, and the U-notch in the rear sight makes this a very fast and reasonably accurate sighting system. Last up is my most recent acquisition that I've used as a backup handgun, and that is my Walther PPK-S 380 semi-automatic pistol. This is another great little handgun. This has been an extremely reliable handgun. I've never had a malfunction with this pistol. And it also has seemed to be very, very accurate. I think possibly the fixed barrel design of this handgun just helps it to be a little bit more accurate than you would expect. It's been a great shooting handgun, but again, I've never fired it from the bench, and I wasn't sure just exactly what to expect from its performance when shooting it that way. So those are the contestants. Next, let me tell you how I decided to score them against each other in today's contest. Now I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently for today's accuracy challenge. I'm going to start the first half of the contest just like I've done in past videos. I will be shooting seated at the bench with the handgun rested on top of bags. Now some people have talked to me and sent comments saying I should not have the handgun resting on the bag because the recoil can cause some sort of accuracy problems on the other end. Just so everyone knows, the grip of the handgun or the magazine of the handgun or what have you is not actually resting on the bags. The bottom of my hands are resting on the bags and the grip is enclosed in my grasp. So I'm not getting any recoil impulse problems that are going to affect accuracy. Now, when I fire those shots from the bench, I'm going to be shooting from a distance of 10 yards. Reason being, I think because of the diminutive size of these handguns, the short sight radii, the small grips and everything else, that's a good distance to compare their accuracy from as opposed to 15 yards or 25 yards or something like that. Just as I've done before, from that distance of 10 yards, I'm going to fire 6 shots out of each one of the contestants. Then I'm going to score the best 5-shot group out of those 6 shots as measured center to center. So all that's going to be just the same as you've seen before, but I'm going to add a second component to today's contest. And the reason I'm doing that is because with handguns of this size, they can be a little bit more challenging to shoot. You don't have much to hang on to, the sights are very small, the sight radius is very short. So all the mechanical accuracy in the world is fantastic, but if the handgun lacks the practical shootability to allow the shooter to employ that mechanical accuracy in a defensive situation, then the only thing in that type of encounter that the shooter might have is an expensive noisemaker. So for that reason, after I complete the bench shooting, I'm going to shoot each one of the contestants through a 5-shot drill from a distance of 5 yards. And in that drill, I will start in a ready position with my shot timer. And on the signal to fire, I'm going to fire 5 shots into the body of a human silhouette target in a time limit of 5 seconds. Then I'm going to measure the size of that 5-shot group that I fired in the 5-yard drill to the size of the best 5 shots that I fired seated at the bench from 10 yards, and whichever one of the contestants has the smallest combined group is going to be the winner. So this is going to be a little bit different today, folks, but I think it's going to be fun. A couple of last things before we head out to the range, folks. First is going to be the ammunition for today's contest. This is the first one of the accuracy challenge videos where I've had firearms that are chambered for different cartridges. And I want to make sure everyone knows what's being fired when you see these different handguns in the segments from the range. First, for the 3 9mm in this contest, I am using Norma 115 grain full metal jacket ammunition. For the sole 40 Smith & Wesson contestant, I am using House of Pain 180 grain full metal jackets. For the 38 Special contestant, I am using a hand load. This features a 158 grain Nosler jacketed hollow point. And that is loaded to plus P pressures, folks. And last up, for the lone 380 ACP, that being my PPKS, I am using House of Pain 95 grain full metal jacket ammo. So there you go. Now just to recap quickly, this is 6 different handguns with 6 different triggers, 6 different sights, 6 different sets of recoil characteristics, all fired in a challenge which uses 4 different types of ammunition. I've got semi-autos, I've got revolvers. This is a shootout, folks. place your bets on your favorite contestant, and first off, we're going to head out to the range and see how they performed against each other from the bench. So here we go. So the first thing I have to say about the results from the bench is I was very happy with the way that all of these contestants performed. Most of them I've not shot from the bench before, so I was not sure at all what to expect. And kicking things off with the 940, we started out very well. The best 5 shots out of that 6-shot group are coming in right at 1.25 inches. And for anyone that thinks that snubby revolvers don't have good inherent mechanical accuracy, take a look at that group. All 6 shots are just slightly over 1.25 inches. But the best 5 out of that 6 is 1.25 inches. And I was extremely happy with that. And keep in mind, I had to stop shooting when I finished my 5th round and reload the revolver in order to be able to fire shot number 6. So that required me to get out of position, move around, get the revolver reloaded, then get back into position and fire off another shot. And that very last shot was again down in this area. Had I been able to stay in position and keep firing shots without moving around and reloading, I could potentially have put one of those shots up in with this other group and had an even smaller 5-shot group. As it is, I don't think 1.25 inches is anything to be ashamed of for the 940, and again, I was quite happy with that performance. With the CS9, one thing that I want to point out with not just the CS9, but also the PPKS, when I fired this drill, I started out firing in single action mode. When I get to the next drill, firing the 5 shots from 5 yards, I will start both of those in double action mode for that first shot. But firing all 6 shots, single action. On this stage of the contest, I ended up with a group from that distance of 10 yards of 2.25 inches for the best 5 out of those 6 shots. My point of aim for all these, once again, is 6 o'clock on the white part of this circle here. So the shots are all hitting right about where that front sight is or slightly below. So keep that in mind when you look at these groups also. Next up, another impressive group from a snubby revolver. The 342 Ti fired a nice 2-inch group from that distance of 10 yards. Most of that is well centered, and same thing as with the 940. I had to reload it and move around before I could fire shot number 6, which ended up over here. Had I not had to do all that, I could potentially have had an even tighter best 5 out of that 6-shot group. My M&P 40 Compact, out of all the shooting I did today, not just from the bench, but all the shooting I did today, has one shot that remains an anomaly. And I cannot explain this. The second shot of this 6-shot group actually struck off to the left to the point that it doesn't even show up in the camera view. And the rest of that 5-shot group, or the rest I should say of the 6-shot group, is a very impressive 1.5-inch 5-shot group. So that single errant shot really puzzles me. The sights looked good. When the trigger broke, there was nothing about that shot that felt different or looked different than any of the other 5 that I fired. But for whatever reason, I don't know if that was just a bad round of that House of Pain ammunition, or if I just had a horrifically bad shot that I wasn't able to pick up on as I squeezed it off. I don't know what happened, but since I'm only scoring the best 5 shots, the best 5 shots are in 1.5 inches, pretty much right at point of aim, and that's why I'm scoring the best 5 out of the 6-shot groups. And how about the Hellcat? Another very impressive group from one of those small handguns. The best 5 shots out of that 6-shot group are in 1.25 inches. So it's one of the best. I think that's tied for the best group from the bench at 1.25 inches. So very nice shooting from the Hellcat. And last but certainly not least, another 1.25-inch 5-shot group coming from the PPKS, and 4 of those 6 shots are forming one large hole, hitting a little high, a little bit to the right, but For that type of a handgun firing at that distance, I am not going to complain one darn bit about that level of accuracy. So keep in mind, the best 5-shot groups that I just showed you are now going to be added to the size of the 5-shot group from the next drill. I'm going to be firing the handguns in the same order once again, and when I come back this time, I'll have that silhouette target here. I will tell you what the group size was that I fired in this drill, and I will have the results ranked in the order that the handguns finished to be able to show you who won this contest. So let's head back out to the range and see how the 5-shot drill went. Folks, one quick point before we head out to the range. When I get to the segment where I'm shooting the CS9, I had a camera glitch. So you're only going to see the target camera view. You won't see me actually shooting that drill. Now the good news is I look pretty much the same way I always look when I'm shooting, so you're not going to miss out on anything. Anyway, let's head out to the range and see how things go. And we're back from the range with the final standings for our contestants. As I go through the final results here, I will give you the measurement of the group from that 5-shot drill that we saw just now. And I will also tell you what the overall group size was when combined with the group that each contestant fired from the bench. And I'm not going to be going through the contestants in the order you saw me shoot them. Rather, I'm going to be going through in the order that they ended up in the standings. First up is going to be my CS9. In that 5-shot drill from 5 yards, the CS9 is marked with the yellow stickers here. The overall 5-shot group in that 5-yard drill is 7.25 inches. When combined with the 2.25-inch group that the CS9 fired from the bench, it ended up with an overall score of 9.50 inches. So the CS9 is my last place finisher out of this group of 6 firearms. Even so, with a handgun of this size, shooting it as fast as I did in the last drill, starting out in double action mode and ending up with all my shots where you see the yellow stickers there, I'm just not feeling too bad about the performance of the CS9. Next in the standings is my Model 940 revolver. And the Model 940, once I find them here, are marked or is marked with the black stickers that you see here. And this group with the 940 measures 8.25 inches all in all, which is larger than the 5-shot group with the CS9, but the thing that made up the difference was the 1.25 inch group for my best 5 shots with the 940 from the bench. So it actually ended up tying in the overall score with the CS9. They both had an overall score of 9.50 inches. So to break the tie, I went with the smallest group from the bench, which for the 940 was 1.25 inch group, and that was smaller than the group fired with the CS9. So all that to say, in 5th place is my Model 940 revolver. And again, looking at these black stickers, I had one shot that got a little bit away from me there, firing in that 5-shot group from 5 yards. But the other 4 were all looking pretty good, and even that one's not all that bad when we consider that I'm shooting a 5-shot snubby J-frame. In 4th place is my Model 342 Ti. And again, look at these green stickers here. That is the group from that 5-yard drill fired with the 342 Ti. The original group fired from the bench was an even 2 inches. One shot ended up opening this group from 5 yards to 7.25 inches. So the overall group for both the bench and the 5-yard drill for the 342 Ti is 9.25 inches. And again, it's because of this one shot right here, which still isn't a bad shot. That's a good lung shot. And look at these 4 right here. Again, very good performance from that snubby J-frame revolver, double action only trigger, and I think both of my revolvers did pretty well in both of these drills. In 3rd place is my M&P 1.0 40 compact. And I thought this one might win it when I started out the contest today because it does have a slightly larger grip. It's a little bit bigger than the other contestants. It's a little bit more shootable because it has a better trigger, but it also has a little bit more recoil. And I think that might be what we're seeing here. The M&P, you may recall, had a 1.5 inch group for the best 5 shots fired from the bench. On the 5-yard drill, the M&P comes in with the blue stickers that we see right here. It's kind of hard to see that one there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it ended up on the 5-yard drill with a even 5-inch 5-shot group combined with that 1.5 inch group from the bench, gives it an overall score of 6.5 inches. In 2nd place, and I was a little surprised by this. I just didn't know how the PPKS was going to do, but I got that very nice 1.25 inch group from the bench. It's difficult to see because I ran out of colored stickers, but my shots on the 5-yard drill are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I had to use this tan color sticker to mark those. That comes out to 4.25 inches on that drill from 5 yards, combined with a 1.25 inch group on the original showing from the bench, and I ended up with 5.5 inches for the overall score for the PPKS. And that brings me to my winner of my most accurate backup gun contest, and that's going to be the Hellcat. I didn't really know how to expect the Hellcat would perform. Like I said at the very beginning of the video, it always seems to me like it shoots like a much larger handgun, but from the bench, I had a nice 1.25 inch group for the best 5 out of that 6 shots. And on the group here, or the performance that we saw from 5 yards rather, we've got those shots marked with the red stickers. And look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, very nice, all clustered right there in the right lung of the target. And those shots are 3.25 inches added to the 1.25 inch group from the bench. Gives the Hellcat an overall score of 4.5 inches, and that's the best out of this group of 6. Now, a couple of closing thoughts. I think a big reason the Hellcat won was because of what I was talking about back at the beginning of the video when I was talking about the sights on this pistol, because when I come up, and I noticed it when I was coming up to fire this drill, that front sight just grabs my attention. It draws my focus into that. I was watching that sight as I was squeezing off those 5 shots in 5 seconds, and the results speak for themselves. It just made it very easy to shoot. The trigger helps too. This pistol has a very good trigger for its size, and it was good enough to best this group of 6 backup handguns in this contest. But something I want to point out as well, look at all of these shots. Again, this is 6 firearms, 4 different cartridges, all the different shooting characteristics, and I think all of them performed pretty well in this contest. The Hellcat just managed to come out on top. And that's the video for today, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, as always, make sure you forward those to me. Remember, if you purchase anything from Optics Planet, be sure to use my discount code, which is... And if you use that discount code, it's good for 5% off your purchase from Optics Planet. Also remember the new discount code from Hot Munitions. If you go to Hot Munitions, you can use my discount code there, which is HRFUNK10, and that'll save you 10% off your purchase from Hot Munitions. And remember, they helped me out with some of the ammunition for today's contest. Lastly, don't forget Targets Online, the new channel sponsor. If you go to Targets Online, you can check out everything on their website and see if they have anything that's going to meet your target needs. See you next time, folks. And until then, good shooting. Bye-bye.